Welcome, race fans, to Road Atlanta for the very final set of races at the last round of the 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship. This is the G2 division, the final round 13 of a long season as we get ready for a sprint race initially and then a feature race here at the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. We are starting our sprint as usual, of course, in reverse championship order, although there are a couple of drivers at the back who are reserving today who don't get the the advantage of starting at the front. But Lord Top Hat will take us away on a rolling start then for our race. I do just need to make a minor little adjustment on my side just to make sure everything comes through a-okay, and we will get underway then for just 5 laps of action around this Michelin Raceway, and then we'll go into how things look in the standings prior to the portion of the race as we see it. It is Lord Top Hat then who will take the pole position, as it were, for the head of the field at this rolling start then for just a very brief 5 quick laps around the Fox Factory sponsored Michelin Raceway. Lord Top Hat ahead of Gubinoff with Kelvin the Boss as they head in towards turn 1 for the first time. I love the new Rexy style green and black livery on Deluxe's Bro Cargo for today. Let's throw away all all approved livery options then for our sponsors in this final round, because there's absolutely no issue there as JCGT and Zenith Specs fight incredibly hard. JCGT with a little spin thanks to some contact then on the apex of one of the S's corners. This is very early to be getting into it with one another. We had double contact then on the way through. I think JCGT slightly ahead, certainly at the first part of the contact. JCGT at the back of the grid. Pumpkin King has also had a big issue then wearing the stars and stripes here as he heads in, and I think there might have been the issue of having an accident happen directly in front of him and everything just concertinaing up. And our champion in waiting then, Pumpkin King, sent to the very back of the grid. Not much he could do at that stage. Newcomer Hilo in P11 then for Kimi's racing team with Rhino reserving, and he's picked up a 4-second penalty. I think that's the contact we saw, or possibly being off track there through the S's for the first time. It's Lord Top Hat though heading uphill to finish out the first of our racing 5 laps here in the sunset conditions. We'll be going into night conditions during the race as well for the main race. It looks like DeLucas has made his way up very neat and tidily up to P3 thanks to some penalties, I think, ultimately. Let's go back and just check out DeLucas on his run. He was 4th position in this point with the Ahsoka insignia on the car, as well as the Rexy toothy grin on the front as well. But yes, it looks like that was Gubinoff picking up the off-throttle penalty, and DeLucas making his way past, and several other drivers, of course, will do the same. Black Evo up to P4, Gubinoff dropping to 5th, possibly even at risk of 6th position. DeLucas then through the turn 10 and 10A chicane underneath the Fox Factory bridge, and there's the pit entry. We won't be using that during this pit lane, but DeLucas getting up to P2 now, and we'll be chasing down Lord Top Hat to maximise his sprint race points. Kelvin the Boss struggling to hang on here for Jan Placht Interiors as Black Evo's chasing him down, but there is limited opportunity to make overtakes, as we saw, and certainly to make clean overtakes, as we saw on that opening lap. All the drivers obviously in a hurry to make sure they get the best points possible for the team today. But we don't want too much by way of impatience to affect the racing result. Monkey Games in 7th. He's got Breo in front of him in 6th. Zenith Specs, newly renamed from Apex Specs, with the 2 Coach Dave cars together. But it looks like Hilo has managed to make his way by as well into the double right at turn 6 and then 7. And Monkey Games and Zenith Specs fighting over their run through the next few corners. Here comes Hilo then with a great exit in the Ferrari to head down. We've also got, I think that looks like Gubernov fighting with Black Evo. That might be another track limit penalty, but Black Evo holding firm on the inside line. Gubernov almost all the way across and in front as they both are quite late on the brakes, but ultimately Black Evo making his way by and Gubernov yielding to Kelvin de Bros, and then Breo, who makes sure that he gets his way through nicely. Looking really good for Bro Carga this sprint race so far, as Zenith Specs is holding on against compatriot Hilo, a newcomer who is just making sure that the teams are aware of his talent here for the off season and the recruitment for the following season. Zenith Specs, as Hilo is just moving around on the apex there, and they'll all be pretty nervous of a Kimmy's Racing Team car going side by side into the S's. It is ferocious at the front. Towards the back, it's Rhino, JCGT, and Pumpkin King. All three drivers, I think, having a fair share of issues. Hilo moving around in the background in the mirrors of Zenith Specs, stuck between the two Coach Dave Delta cars. But obviously able to unlock a great deal more traction, but on the full pace, oh, that's a big problem for Gubernov. Another issue then for Gubernov on consecutive laps. Here we go, coming out of the corner. What happened to Gubernov? Gubernov seemingly just wandering off the track. I wonder if that is a steering malfunction in the car. I don't think he had any contact on the car at that point. Let's have a look as he runs out, and then it seems like he just drives off the track. So possibly a steering failure, and fortunate to not wipe out anybody else on the run through that corner. But here we go then with Hilo and Zenith Specs. Hilo on the outside, Zenith Specs holding that firm on the inside, but there's a late dart to the inside lane, and actually Zenith Specs going for it and pushing himself ultimately onto the gravel through the chicane. Unfortunate for Zenith Specs there, as Apex not found is right with him. Hilo goes to the outside, possible trying for the switchback here in P7. DeLucas though leads. Let's go up and see how that one just eventuated. Because we've got DeLucas, who's managed to make his way by Lord Top Hat. I wonder, did we have a problem there on the car for Lord Top Hat? Was it, in fact, quite a way ago? Here we go then. It's through the S's on lap 3. So we will see how this happened. Oh, it's just a minor little traction oversteer moment then for DeLucas, for Lord Top Hat, and DeLucas will certainly be grinning inside the helmet as well as on the front fender as he makes his way by, and we end up with a new race leader. DeLucas ahead of Lord Top Hat, and it's Black Evo in that third position in the Buckstein Transport Service GTR Nismo. Your top three provisionally at this point, past the halfway point on the sprint race already. Kelvin de Bos in fourth, with Breo looking to make a double podium attempt here for the Bro Carga team, but he was right into the back of Kelvin de Bos. But thankfully he managed to keep the brakes on Kelvin de Bos, rescuing himself there. And here comes Hilo around the outside of Monkey Games. He's favouring that outside line, not really able to cut back and putting himself on the dirty side of the track there, just trying to move around in Monkey Games mirrors. But Monkey Games is a seasoned pro here at the Simracing VR World Championship, and Hilo is struggling to make his way by. Meanwhile, Apex Not Found is getting very active in the mirrors of the Kimmy's Racing Team Ferrari GT3. It's Porsche, Ferrari, it's Audi, and we've got a yellow flag, and there goes Black Evo. I'm sorry to say, Black Evo spinning. Let's have a look, and that is another, I think, mistake coming out of the S's, and there, boom, into the barrier. That is going to be significant damage for Black Evo, who tries the spin turn, and then, I'm sorry to say, that was most unfortunate as he crossed the line of traffic. And well, certainly it's a good job that the drivers behind him didn't come into grief. Looks like Monkey Games, it looks like Apex Not Found and Hilo have all survived that without damage, and I have no idea how that happened. Here comes Breo then chasing down the Jamplacht Interiors Lamborghini Huracan of Kelvin the Boss. He's got himself ahead. It is very much Bro Cargo versus Jamplacht Interiors on the way through here. We've got another yellow flag though ahead, I believe. As heading into the corner, well, both cars a bit late and a bit struggling into the chicane. Everybody really trying their level best here. That was very long from Kelvin the Boss, and Breo making his way through and into P3. Hilo goes through as well. Kelvin the Boss recovering, but he's going to drop 2-3 positions even, and he picks up a 3-second penalty as well. Absolutely astonishing then from Kelvin the Boss, but Breo's in third position. He's got Hilo right with him. De Lucas leads us on this final lap of the sprint race here in this final round of the championship, and Hilo is absolutely covering all of Breo's moves at the moment, and we'll see if he can make his way by, and everybody manages to get their way out of these fiendishly difficult S section of the Michelin Road Atlanta Raceway, and we'll see if we can make our way by as we drive the long way down the outside through into the double right-hander at the south end of the circuit. Hilo getting very muscular through that corner, and there'll be question marks over those tactics. We do race; it is a non-contact sport here at SVR, and I imagine he will be reviewed here with a magnifying glass to make sure that racing standards are exactly what we expect. Another yellow flag on the circuit. I'm not entirely sure what that is for, possibly just a driver off the circuit, but celebrating his new livery. De Lucas wins the sprint ahead of Lord Top Hat, and then it is going to be, wow, Apex Not Found moving up into P3. How did that happen? Well, that is Hilo and Breo getting together in a big way, and Apex Not Found will take that every day of the week into P3. Hilo in P4, but a question mark over that one as Breo is struggling to recover the car. Breo, that is big problems for Breo. Monkey Games in 5th, Black Evo, Pumpkin King, Breo. Kelvin the Boss coming home in 9th position, JCGT in 10th, Zenith Specs in 11th place with Rhino and Gubanov. Gubanov having parked up, I think, from what I can see. Yes, possibly another mechanical failure there, but De Lucas, your sprint race victor, and it will take me a minute or two to get myself organised for the next portion of the broadcast. So bear with me just a moment, and I will get that organised for you. Well, thanks for your patience, folks, and apologies for that. It just takes a while to load up the replay and check that that we have what we need in terms of liveries as well. This is how things look coming out of the penultimate round of the championship, the Nürburgring round here at SVR's G2 division. Delesi are, I think, virtually confirmed, or certainly, or actually confirmed as the G2 champions, ahead of Kimi's racing team, who are still trying to defend that second place ahead of Coach Dave. Buckstein have 196 points and I think are almost out of reach of that third position, but Bro Karga have 168 and Mega Racing 166, with JPI or Jann Interiors on 155. A very close battle then for the final three placings in our Constructors' Championship here in G2. In the drivers' situation, we have, forgive me if that flashed up on screen incorrectly, but someone altered the website before I'd done this stream. Pumpkin King is absolutely, definitely your champion of G2, with Apex Not Found guaranteed to be in second place. However, we do have a real fight between JCGT and Black Evo. JCGT, who was early in the season very, very accomplished. Black Evo scored 2 podiums early season as well, and 1 further podium later on. But for both drivers, they started strong and perhaps have not quite been able to continue that run of form throughout the course of the season, or maybe other drivers just got a little bit better. Zenith in P5 is just 1 point ahead as well of Monkey Games in P6. So Zenith versus Monkey Games is another key battleground. We've got DeLucas and Breo, the 2 Bro Karga teammates, only 3 points apart, and DeLucas scoring heavily. Just bear in mind that these points don't include the sprint race at the top of today's broadcast. Quicks has 59 points in 9th place. Kelvin the Boss has 46, just a couple ahead of Motsky in P11, and Gubanov in P12 has 38 points. Lord Top Hat, after joining us very late in the season, will be targeting a strong or personal best finish, I'm sure, for this racing round. It is the final race of our entire VR Sim Racing World Championship across 5 different divisions and 26 racing weekends. So let's make the most of this one. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope when in the off season you can make sure that you do whatever's possible to help us grow the league and the interest in it. Throughout the course of that off season, do your very best if you can to leave timestamps on your favorite race moments. We will be very, very grateful for anything like that you can do to help us out for collecting sizzle reel and great moments from this 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship. Let's get you trackside though. Just a reminder that it is JCGT versus Black Evo. For third place, it is Zenith versus Monkey. For 5th place here, and was also a big question mark over DeLucas and Breo, the battle of the Bro Kargas, and for Kelvin and Motsky, who could still change positions as well. Lots still to fight for. Pumpkin King on his victory race, and let's get you trackside then for 50 minutes of racing around this road Atlanta. At the back of the grid, we have Kelvin the Boss, my apologies, on the medium tyres there for his Jann Interiors team. We've got Gubanov in the Lexus, also starting on the mediums. We've got Lord Top Hat and Breo on the penultimate row of the grid, followed by Zenith in P9 and Monkey Games, the first driver, on the hard tyres. I'm not quite sure why DeLucas is showing as P9 or P8, essentially, with the teeth there on the right hand of your screen, and yet showing as pole position. So I think something's gone a little bit awry there in the replay. So, and he's got a blue flag as well. So some sort of misplacement, possibly. But the hard tyres for Monkey Games. For Rhino, we've got the hard tyres in the Nismo as well. racing for Buckstein, with Apex not found back on those mediums. JCGT starting on the mediums with the grid start here at Road Atlanta. Look out for those Kimi's cars, those Ferraris on their hot starts. Hard tyres for Black Evo. Hilo has qualified in P3 and starts on the mediums, so I will fully expect him to be right at the front at the start of the race. We've got Pumpkin King in P2, our newly crowned 2025 champion here. And DeLucas, well, certainly Pumpkin King in second. DeLucas back at the back of the grid on this replay anyway, starting on the medium tyres, and he has been fantastic lately in his Jaguar, and really getting on board with it. So let's give you a nice wide angle. Not quite sure whether DeLucas will be able to navigate this grid properly, but we'll be on our way then for you. We will go day, evening, night, and back into daybreak again for this race. So hopefully we will see a big mix of conditions. So let's get underway for the final race of the season. It's round 13 at Road Atlanta for the G2 drivers. And it's dropped the clutch and go, and a couple of slow starts in the background. The Ferrari naturally jumping very quickly forward. It's Hilo and JCGT, as far as I can see, at the front of the grid immediately. Hilo storming off into the lead here with Black Evo in P3 on the hard tyres in the GTR Nismo. Pumpkin King dropping back slightly in the Porsche, not quite getting the launch away that he was hoping for. DeLucas is in P5, even though, as far as I could see, he was starting in the correct, he was starting out of position. We've got JCGT struggling, and then DeLucas going all the way through and making contact, I do believe that was with JCGT. And what's a guy got to do to survive this Road Atlanta S section as we run through? This is JCGT. He was a little bit leery. Drivers behind not being particularly patient. A little nerf in the rear. Then he comes back onto the circuit, gets a second hit and a third hit from 3 different drivers. Absolutely astonishing poor luck from JCGT. And then you've got, I think that was a big fight over the following positions, as Pumpkin King and DeLucas fighting in towards that double right-hander, as Apex Not Found has a little bit of traction. Oversteer coming out of turn 7. He's overtaken by his teammate, by Rhino, as well as they head down uphill to finish out lap 1. So much going on at this early point of the G2 final race of the season. That sort of end of school term feel to the race, as it looks like Pumpkin King and DeLucas going head to head into the corner. Could have been a Ferrari 1-2, but JCGT hit not once, twice, but 3 times through that opening section. It's Hilo who leads the race here by a commanding lead of 2 or 3 seconds after lap 1, thanks to the misfortune of lots of drivers behind him. But DeLucas, who has got himself into second position, looking amazing out there in the Jaguar, with Pumpkin King in P3. Pumpkin King starting on those hard tyres. We've got Black Evo in P4 and Zenith Specs running through the S's. It really is a big difference maker in terms of man and machine through these S's as the drivers come through. We've got JCGT right at the back with just Lord Top Hat behind him so far, but putting in a purple sector is the Ferrari driver. But up front is his teammate, guest driving here, and certainly putting a marker down for his ability in this final race of the season, making his debut here in this final race of the season. Heavily textured livery for DeLucas with the teeth on the kart. We've got Pumpkin King following him significantly. Black Evo defending into the chicane. And so often we see this, you defend a little bit too hard. The number 46 is really wrestling with the car, trying to hold on and slipping all the way down back behind his teammate Rhino, and rejoining the race in P10 with just JCGT in front of him at the moment. DeLucas with our new champion here, with the stars and stripes on just one side of his Porsche. There they are. while these colours may not run, they certainly aren't applied evenly across the car. As Pumpkin King there with a cityscape on his over his windshield as well. I'm not sure if that is. I think that might be in reference to the Twin Towers, possibly on the roof of his Porsche. But Zenith Specs in P4 as we're racing, of course, on the weekend closest to that historic day. We've got a Hilo in the lead of this race, and here you have Pumpkin King. I do believe that is what we're looking at on the car. So certainly leaving a memorial on his car instead of necessarily being quite so celebratory as perhaps you would expect as a new champion, deciding to leave an important message on the side of the car. And we can obviously all respect that. We've got Breo in 5th, and there's a late dive bomb from Monkey Games. More contact into the chicane. It is very much the danger area, and you have to say a hugely unsafe rejoin there, and straight into Black Evo, who cannot buy good luck today. That was Monkey Games going down the inside, understeering into the Audi, who then tags Black Evo. And I'm afraid that wasn't great from nearly anybody involved in that. But Black Evo, the innocent party, I would have to say at this stage. DeLucas leading Pumpkin King at the moment in that battle for second position. But Hilo has checked out. Only about half a second between P2 and P3. Zenith Specs is there in P4. And then there's a gap back to Breo and the danger zone in the midfield here. Of Rhino, Monkey Games, JCGT and Lord Top Hat. JCGT wearing a 3-second off throttle penalty. That is a huge infraction that has caused. So whether that's inadvertent contact or going over an apex at full throttle, big problem for him, as he will lose out then on the way out of the next corner and on the approach up and downhill to that chicane, that all-important chicane where we've seen so many problems. Black Evo picked up a 1-second penalty, so it just goes to show that perhaps JCGT did some murdering somewhere or other. Kevin the Boss in P2, Gubanov in P12, Gubanov in that P13, but the field spread quite enormous at this stage as Hilo is in that P1. Right now, DeLucas able to open a bit of a gap. He's got a tyre compound grip level advantage over the car behind him for now, but it won't last the duration. We may see one stops, but it was a dead set, absolute certain 2-stop in the G1 race, who run for 10 minutes longer than these drivers, so they might be managing the tyre wear at this stage. You've got Breo in P5. Certainly the medium tyre runners might start to think about conserving their tyre wear at this point. Monkey Games is in 7th. Then we've got Apex not found, Lord Top and JCGT fighting over this P8, 9, 10 interchange at the moment. On board with Lord Top Hat. Let's run through that double right-hander, and he just picks up a small penalty going through the S's, so he will lose a little bit of ground, possibly even a position here. We'll go uphill. We'll try and use as much of the slipstream as possible, but as soon as we see those yellow chevrons, the power will be cut from the engine, and he moves aside very sportingly. We wait to see if JCGT's Ferrari will be able to actually catch us coming into the chicane. Not quite, but certainly we've got closer there behind of JCGT on the comeback here in the number 91, and tucked on the inside, protecting the inside lane is Lord Top Hat. That will give a little bit of impetus to JCGT, who's quite happy to take the normal racing line here. Oh, big slide though. Big oversteer moment for him, but meanwhile Lord Top Hat off the circuit by himself. Let's have a look at how that went down for Lord Top Hat's massive understeer. Meanwhile, the car behind was getting huge oversteer into the turn 1, and then Lord Top Hat going straight into the barrier and damaging the car. Unfortunately for him, Black Evo has the yellow flag in front of him, warning for Lord Top Hat, who is rearranging our off-track furniture out there in anger. But Black Evo in P10, Lord Top Hat rejoining slowly but surely, with Kelvin the Boss, his teammate, having got back by. Gubanov is definitely having a bit of a difficult day here, you have to say, at this early stage of the race. We are nearly 8 minutes in to a 50-minute race, endurance race, as we wait to see the beautiful sunset effects. But Hilo won't be thinking about that at this stage. He'll be thinking about his strategy, about those medium tyres, just protecting the gap that he's got at the moment, and wondering whether he has the pace over the drivers who started on the option strategy, starting on the harder compound and moving to the softer compound later in the race as we progress through this final race of the season. I've got to say, I'm really enjoying looking at Deluxe's highly detailed livery. I don't know that I get absolutely every part of it. Definitely I understand the Ahsoka detail and his name and flag on the side with the teeth in a Rexy style, but the green repeated texture pattern there, I'm not quite sure what that is referring to, but certainly he's emptied the sticker box on this final round of the season, and Pumpkin King is now starting to have a pace advantage, and I think that's partly down to the tyre wear. You can see the front left tyre of Deluxe's Jaguar as the drivers are coming up to lap Gubanov already, but Pumpkin King with an additional amount of grip there on the rear dominant Porsche tends to protect the front tyres better on these tracks that have difficulty protecting the fronts. The rearward weight bias of the Porsche and the rear wheel drive tends to mean that the front wheels only have to worry about steering, and of course the fuel tank is located on the front of the Porsche. So Pumpkin King in his jack-o'-lantern helmet as usual, running through the S's. Let's ride on board with him as we see the change in topography for this Porsche, and where he's starting to gain ground thanks to that tyre difference and the handling characteristics. He does seem to have to hesitate though at the final portion of the S's through turn 5, and then heading downhill in towards that south side and lowest point on the circuit, the turn 6 and 7, and then they'll obviously have to climb the hill once again, but focusing on smooth application of power on the way out. The wind, a bit of a crosswind coming through that turn 7. That's just going to upset the balance of the cars very slightly. He's got a nice clear run behind him as Gubanov is yielding to the Audi of Zenith Specs, and going a lap down to that P4 at this stage. But Pumpkin King just putting the pressure on just relatively gently, but Hilo is continuing to extend his gap at the front of this race while the helicopter above is watching on, so he'll be pretty happy with that, I'm sure. Zenith Specs in P4, Breo running in P5. Big gaps then between these drivers in the field. The Porsche of Monkey Games, the second Alessi car, the constructors champions. I think maybe even having put a pumpkin or no, just an orange sticker on the car. I don't know what that is in reference to, but it could be in honour of his teammate. On the rear quarter of the car there for Monkey Games. Apex not found in 7th, chasing him down. Then we've got a tight-ish battle between Rhino in the Nismo GTR, number 78, racing for Bergstein, and JCGT, who is trying to secure 3rd place in the championship, but that is being made incredibly difficult after very problematic opening laps on the at this circuit, both in the sprint and the feature race. Black Evo P10, Kelvin the Boss in 11th, and Lord Top Hat behind him, with Gubanov slowly but surely going 1 or 2 laps down. I imagine it will be by the time we reach the end of racing today at this particular pace differential. Brokaga have been favouring applying a lot of gold to their cars. I'm not aware of any championship victory that would indicate, that would actually kind of justify the use of the gold, but they've gone through it anyway. So clearly there's been some sort of team communication that we're going to be looking like champions whether we are or not. We're going to be applying the gold paint or wraps. Here comes Pumpkin King then chasing down De Lucas. I hope we're going to get through this S section cleanly. Pumpkin King, generally a very patient driver when it comes to being out of position and making his way forward. I'm sure every Porsche driver would like the race number 911, 911 as it were, as he comes out of the corner. And waits to pick up that slipstream, put on the pressure. There's plenty of points across the racetrack that can yield you having lots of track limit abuse penalties and making the overtake just that little bit easier. But he's missing out on a little bit of top speed to the Jaguar, and currently De Lucas is holding on. But the question in my mind right now is whether De Lucas is costing himself too much in terms of race pace, especially to Hilo at the front of the grid. And there is Pumpkin King looking like he's got grip for days coming through the final corner. It's lap 11. We are approaching 14 minutes, and there you can see De Lucas having to in the end yield to Pumpkin King. And just the tyre wear, I think, and the tiniest miscalculation. He's been protecting that inside line over and over again. I wonder if he actually let Pumpkin King by there, because it didn't look like he was losing grip at any point. De Lucas, Pumpkin King going through into second place, and he will take off now. And the first of the medium runners, Apex Not Found, heading into the pits at the end of lap 11 after 14 racing minutes on the clock, is an interesting point in the race timing to have to head on in. I wonder what Pumpkin King makes of the hood decoration there and the front fender of De Lucas. How aggressive does that look? He's no stranger to an interesting fender decoration, is Pumpkin King. Hilo is in P1 and leading the charge at the moment. Does he head into the pit lane? He's certainly left of the track. There he goes. Difficult to stay within track limits on the way in, but there's your leader heading into the pit lane just as Pumpkin King is getting into his rhythm on the hard tyres, and he'll be hoping then to extend a decent lead, possibly even a pit stop delta between himself and Hilo before the race is run. But Hilo's certainly got a lot of pace out there and had a clean and easy run at the front of the grid after the first lap. Zenith Specs goes into third position. I think Hilo will probably be returning to the racetrack momentarily. Where is he? Well, Breo has technically got by, and I think will stay ahead here. As there goes the Bro Cargo Jaguar, and Hilo comes out in P5. Almost a sector then, or half a sector I should say, behind the new leader of the race, Pumpkin King, your 2025 VR Sim Racing World Champion of the G2 division. Monkey Games in P6. He's on the same strategy as his teammate there, with the straight black line across the front fender rather than the curly distinguished gentleman's moustache. It's Rhino in P7. It's Black Evo Bergstein running 7th and 8th positions right now. And a bit of a gap then. The whole distance of the S is between 8th and 9th. Apex Not Found on his new hard tyres. He's struggling to just get some temperature in to those tyres at this stage. Lord Top Hat has a damaged and certainly worn tyre run on his Lamborghini at the moment. He's battling with that through the S's and then hoping he can get through to the pit stop portion of the race. JCGT has fitted new medium tyres, so I think we'll be two-stopping this one by the look of things. It's the first of the drivers who I think is committed to a two-stop as Kelvin the Boss comes out of the pit lane in P12. I think we've lost Gubanov, unfortunately. Seems like he's had a retirement from the race, as he was in P13 earlier on. And right now, Pumpkin King starting to dial up the speed here. He set a 1:21.5 the last lap. His best was a 1:21.1. The best, though, is Hilo on a 19.9, and he was on medium tyres and on starting fuel load. So you have to say Hilo has got some terrific pace in the Ferrari here, and certainly I think Kimi's will be eyeing up this. They'll be closely monitoring the situation and his pace and consistency. And but for a couple of questionable moments in the sprint race so far, this feature race has gone very, very much to plan A for the Ferrari Kimi's Racing Team reserve driver today. Hilo impressing on his debut. Breo in P4. Couldn't make a larger Webbo sticker on the roof if he tried, and I appreciate that no end. You can colour coordinate if you so wish. The Webbo stickers. There's Monkey Games coming through and rounding the final corner then, and he sets himself a 1:22.6 that lap round. We've got some close-ish racing here. Hilo just closing in on De Lucas, and we are nearing the halfway point of the race. Black Evo pits off the hard tyre now. That is very early for the hard tyre to give up, but and I don't suppose he's out of fuel. De Lucas is running to the absolute canvas on this front left tyre on the Jaguar. He'll be getting into serious difficulty trying to turn to the right now at the final portion of this lap. We'll stay with him and see if he can actually get this car turned into the pit lane. He'll have to slow to a great extent here. Should be fine turning to the left, but it's turning to the right we might get understeer, and just very, very slow and patient on the accelerator. Crosses the pit lane line, and he's going to go for an extra lap, De Lucas. This is perilous, I have to say. Let's see if he can survive the S's. That is bravery on his way through. You can see massive hesitation on the throttle, and he's going to be getting that weight transfer on the front and then running out. There we go, just a little bit wide into turn 3. And again through turn 4, hanging on right now on the tyre. Is De Lucas. I'm not quite sure why we're pushing it to this extent. Lap 14 was a 1:24.1, so much slower for De Lucas, and there you have it. We're right on the canvas of the front left tyre. We're close to a puncture, and we are incredibly slow right now. But he may just be thinking, I'm struggling to get the hard tyres to a conclusion. I desperately want to make a one-stop. I think if anyone's going to be able to going for this one-stop, it will be De Lucas as he runs through. But that is a 5 second slower second sector of the race, first and second sector combined there of the race for De Lucas from his personal best. And he's almost caught by Hilo. In we go. He ended up crossing the line, and I think there might even be a penalty coming for De Lucas. Certainly crossed the line. Whether it was the dotted portion or the solid portion of the line remains to be seen. Hilo back into second place then, and he is continuing to chase down Pumpkin King. 1:21.0 that last lap for Hilo. Pumpkin King a 1:21.8 on the older hard tyres, and he's running towards the end of his hard tyre stint at the moment. Pumpkin King, of course, had to start on full fuel, or maximum fuel, I should say, for the starting portion of the race, and then they will go on and be able to run lighter fuel as the sun is setting here on the Road Atlanta Raceway. We'll be going in towards the night conditions as soon as that sun has gone down behind the clouds and the horizon. I wonder if we will actually see daybreak by the end of this race. The Jaguar here of Breo does not at this point appear to have the headlights on, or at least not on particularly bright as he comes out. He's in third place with Zenith Specs in fourth. De Lucas did get a penalty then, at least at one portion of his pitting point, and I think he might regret that pit stop. But he's gone onto the hard tyres. He's brimmed the tank with fuel, so he's going to give it the old college try to get home here, and in that one-stop scenario. Pumpkin King running through. We are at the halfway period of the race in terms of the stopwatch now, and Apex Not Found is running in P6. Monkey Games has put on the medium tyres, so he'll be marginal to reach the end of the race. Breo pits then off his medium tyres. He went even longer than De Lucas. Let's have a quick look at Breo's tyres. Oh, it's a bit too late to find out Breo's tyres there. But Monkey Games has JCGT behind him. JCGT on his second set of medium tyres. The drivers do have to change tyre compound, so for sure JCGT will be stopping again before the end of the race, and certainly when you look at the fuel, he doesn't have enough to finish. Heading in towards that turn 1 then, and miscalculating the run into turn 1, JCGT, and makes contact with the barrier. That is very unfortunate. He was aggressively pursuing the Porsche in front and then just runs plain into the back of him. And as he tries to recover, you hear the crunch of a front fender. That's an expensive fix in the pit lane in terms of time deficit. It's also expensive in race position as he drops down behind. He's actually got his wipers on, and I think perhaps that is optimistic, unless he's clearing dirt off the windshield. He's hit the wiper button by accident. Pumpkin King does pit then during the 23rd racing minute then, as we run through, and the sunset happening very quickly here at Road Atlanta. There is Breo, and he is in P9, and he's on his new tyres. He's got JCGT, who has not been having a positive race, unfortunately, in his battle to hang on to P3 in the championship. He's basically, as we covered at the start, fighting with Black Evo, who was only 1 point behind him. He's now 1 place ahead of him, Black Evo, and I think JCGT with an extra pit stop to make. Black Evo was probably in a similar situation. Yeah, definitely in a similar situation there with an extra pit stop, but he doesn't have to fix damage. I think there is 1 point between them on the track as well, so I think they could end up finishing on equal points. And Black Evo has 3 third places to JCGT's 1 third and 1 win, and 2 second places. So I think if they finish level on points, I think that JCGT will in the end triumph and hang on to that 3rd place. But the race has got a lot of running left to go. The stars are out, it's a clear night sky, and this is a fabulously atmospheric run to the flag then of our G2 Championship. Breo in 10th, Lord Top Hat right now in P11, and we've got Kelvin the Boss right at the very back at this phase. Hilo back into the lead thanks to the pit stop of Pumpkin King. They've each made 1 pit stop so far. Zenith Specs has made his way into 2nd place and is looking really good at the moment, but Pumpkin King trying to get home, I think, on the medium tyre. He's got the green lights on the side of the Porsche. I think that indicates he has satisfied the tyre change requirement of the pit stops. Big slide though, as the driver's just having to recalibrate now. They're heading into this circuit, which is not particularly well lit. It's not a Singapore situation. This is a genuine, very few floodlights around the circuit, and many of the apexes through this S section here are not covered by the lights, and you can see how difficult it is from this this perspective, from the driver's eye view. Down here is a little bit better. These apexes are lit, but the exits not necessarily. You can't always see your braking reference points, and you just have to change them a little bit. And there's a lot of factors going into making this a very intriguing portion of the race, as well as dropping nighttime track temperatures as well. We heard in the G1 race that the nighttime track temperatures were dropping as low as 19 degrees centigrade. That could be a 10 degree centigrade change from the daytime sunny conditions, because we've got a clear sky here in Road Atlanta. Now that will help with tyre longevity, but for those drivers who are on the hard tyres, it is going to be a struggle to keep them warm enough, I think, as well. Hilo leads on lap 20 with a huge margin over Zenith Specs. However, there's a chance that he has an extra pit stop to make over Pumpkin King. and they may well be close by the time we come towards the final few minutes of this race. 27 minutes of the 50 have elapsed, and Hilo leads Zenith, leads Pumpkin King. Apex not found pits of his hard tyres, hopeful now to make it home in on the mediums, I suspect. De Lucas, after his really slow couple of laps, lap 14 and lap 15, certainly lap 15 and the in lap of lap 16 were significantly slower. He's in 4th place, but again hoping, I think, to get home on the fuel and tyres that he put on late into the race. Here is Monkey Games being pursued by Black Evo, who really could do with that extra position in order to secure 3rd place in the championship. He has attended every no, not every race. He has missed 2 races to JCGC's missed 3 races throughout the course of the season. I think I was looking at Zenith there, who is in a battle with Monkey Games for that 5th place overall. Here is Black Evo to the inside on the long run, full throttle towards this chicane. He peels across to the right hand side, the racing line. And actually, in the end, quite an easy pass then. Monkey Games with rear damage on the Porsche. And that's going to feel like a really long stint with that rear damage for Monkey Games. But not much left to fight over for Monkey Games. He is in a battle with Zenith, but Zenith is up in P2 right now and will outscore Monkey if things remain as they are. JCGT is battling hard, and you take your hat off to him, the driver, the number 91 driver, because it'd be the easiest thing in the world for him to say, I've had enough of this, but still we rise for JCGT. And he is on the comeback here after being last or second to last right at the start of this race, and being embattled through the sprint race as well. But he's up to P7. He's got front damage again. You can see even the damage and the paintwork being scuffed up there on the front fender. Lots of repairs to make in the postseason here for the Ferrari. He's got the blinkers on at the moment. I wonder if he's communicating to Rhino that he is headed towards pit road, or he's just left them on. That is quite frequent with our drivers. It's difficult. In VR, you can't tell. If your dashboard doesn't tell you that your blinkers are on, there's no audible warning, or you really can't see it. And he tries to break into the chicane. He's got front damage. Rhino hits him because he wasn't expecting him, but Rhino sportingly allows JCGT to continue on, doesn't take advantage of that contact. Enter the fray Breo, who has an opportunity now to perhaps dream of 7th place as they head in towards turn 1 on this 22nd racing lap for our midfield runners. Breo just tracking and watching and waiting perhaps for contact or a mistake from the cars in front. I'm just checking whether either of them have any issues. The Ferraris do really seem to be struggling over the curbs here in the S's today, and that is the Buckstein Nismo that sits a lot heavier on its wheels, might ride the bumps that little bit better, and there you see JCGT struggling like crazy to exit the S's, and a nice easy pass then for Rhino this time. Goes to show that being sporting will often yield a good opportunity later on in the phase. We'll see if JCGT is going to head in towards pit road now, and he's got Breo a lot further away in the rearview mirror than he actually is, I think. I thought objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are, but certainly as we run through here in the nighttime conditions, that Jaguar did seem a lot further away than perhaps it actually is. Here comes the slowing JCGT on the way in towards the pit lane. The dew on the grass is starting to collect here in the early hours, simulated trackside, as we expect and wait for sunrise to happen before the end of the race. There's Kelvin the Boss in P12, just letting Pumpkin King, no, actually letting the Porsche of Monkey Games by at this stage. Hilo leads the race. Pumpkin King is nearly an entire sector away from Hilo. but trying to reach the end of the race on his tyres and fuel. Hilo, no such worries. He's going to two-stop this one, and we've got an accident in front of Hilo. We'll try and find out who that is. It looks like that is that's Kelvin or Lord Top Hat. Let's have a look. It is Kelvin who's been off the circuit, unfortunately, as the drivers were coming round to lap, and he just gets a little tank slapper on, grinds to a halt, gets off the road around the other drivers. Well, does he? Not exactly. As unfortunately couldn't spin turn at that point, and may be suffering a mechanical failure here, or he's taking his time, and that is heart failure for 3 consecutive drivers who go to pass him. And unfortunately Kelvin the boss with the rejoin, less than ideal unfortunately for him. Zenith Specs pits from P3 to go through the final 17 and a half minutes, I think, of this race, if I've done my math correctly, and that is never a guarantee. Hilo leads us on lap 24 as he comes through. I think we raced for 45 or 6 laps in the G1 race, so it will be 6-ish fewer than that, maybe. I don't know. I've been telling people all season I simply cannot do math while I commentate. It's just an impossibility in my small motorsport brain. Black Evo in P3 with Pumpkin King not far ahead, and certainly not far behind is DeLucas, who's been having an absolutely fantastic final portion of the season. 3rd place in round 11, a win in round 12, and also a strong performance in the sprint race earlier on at this very track. But those slower laps, trying to eke out the tyre wear and fuel on the first stint, might have cost him a chance for a 3rd consecutive podium this feature race portion of the end of the season. But DeLucas has been on fire in the latter portion of our G2 season. Of course, the drivers will be somewhat relieved, somewhat melancholy about the prospect of no longer having racing, but we will on the channel be able to bring you some off-season events. Certainly web stays will continue as long as I'm able to, and there's plenty of other things happening as well. Lots of plans for the post-season, and we had a lot of fun over the Christmas period of last year as well with our Nations Cup, and I'm sure we'll be returning to something along those lines. It might end up being the Continents Cup, and that's that ends with a TS rather than a CES. But yes, Rhino in P6, Brayo in P7. Apex Not Found is heading through our S section at the moment. We have got some close running in here for the provisional podium places. DeLucas has obviously gone into 3rd place thanks to the pit stop of somebody else. That was Zenith, I think, who's back out again on his new hard tyres. Actually, I was expecting mediums for Zenith, but he's gone on to the hards. Maybe he'd only used mediums earlier on, but hard tyres for the final portion of the race. We're into the final 15 minutes of the SVR 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship. What a ride we've been on, and I'll just ask for another call out there. If you go to the store and pick up some merch to commemorate your season, your racing season, or your favourite driver, there's plenty of options there across the Americas and Europe to pick up some cool merch, and that will help us in our funding for next season as well. If you do want to sponsor a particular race, or you've got some business interests that would like to get a message out during a race, or or as a title team sponsor, it'll be a great time to register your interest as well. Do so through the Discord channel. Hit up Tequila Monkey, and I'm sure he will take care of you. If you've got a t-shirt design idea, also talk to Tequila, as we'll try and endeavour to make that happen for you. Oh, Apex Not Found, sadly, with the damage on the front now, has slipped off the circuit, just exiting the S's. Looks like the Ferraris and the Audis have been massively struggling through that S section today, particularly the very end of the S section. Here is Breo, and he's just about to lap one of the Jann interior cars. It's really difficult to know when you're following another car in VR whether they are going to get blue flags or not. You'll see the blue flags on the side of the car, and then Breo's slipped off the circuit as well. Looks like fatigue and colder temperatures really starting to show up here on the track at the moment. This is that witching hour of the early hours of the morning for the drivers as they start to lose focus. That came out of nowhere for Breo, I'm sorry to say. And he's in 6th place. I think he'll be able to keep hold of that 6th place at the moment, but and he avoided damage, but that is problematic to say the least for the Brokaga Jaguar driver. Apex not found then in that P7. Right now he's going to go in because he's just found the car to be undrivable, and he was nearing the end of his stint anyway. By the look of things. Black Evo in P8. He comes through the final corner and makes the overtake on Apex not found. Black Evo, a reminder, he's trying to outscore JCGT by 2 points today. And he's currently 1 place in front of him. I think he will be shortly yes, he will be 1 place now that Apex not found's pit stop is happening. So Black Evo perhaps not at the moment doing quite enough to reach the end of the race. He's got Breo several seconds in front of him, and that's going to be a problem then. Hilo is in the pits. Pumpkin King has retaken the lead of the race thanks to that pit stop, and now we're going to see something. We're going to see the final 11 minutes of the race, I do believe, so 12 minutes of the race with Hilo chasing down Pumpkin King, but the gap is quite significant right now. I think Hilo might have had a problem on that in-lap. Let's perhaps just go back and check what happened to Hilo. Where is Hilo? He's run out of fuel. He has hit low fuel mode, and that was massive for the win today. So there we have it. It is actually coming out of turn 7, and he runs out of fuel, and he then has to proceed a significant portion of the raceway before he gets into the pit lane, and that is a massive oversight, but a forgivable one for sure from Hilo, because it happens to the very best of us. But on your debut mid-race as well, it's just that inattentive moment on the fuel load, and sadly keeping an eye on too many other things at once. Pumpkin King inheriting the lead of the race, and he's got quite the lead here. I think he will possibly even have a second pit stop in hand over Hilo. He will not believe his luck, as Hilo has got the most incredible pace underneath him. But it looks like Pumpkin King may well be finishing this season with an absolute bang here, and potentially his 6th win of the championship campaign, 6th feature win of the championship campaign. He is on his lap 28. He can, I think, afford another pit stop. He doesn't necessarily have to stay out at this point. Is he heading in towards pit road? He is. We'll see if he puts any fuel on here at this point, but just about 27-28% fuel on board the car at the moment. Hilo is going to take this opportunity, because why wouldn't you when Hilo has come unglued? Unfortunately, running low on fuel, he's made sure he's got plenty of fuel in for the end of this race, as he is now on those new medium tyres. Pumpkin King, I think, probably put a bit of fuel in the car as well, so definitely not able to make that race a one-stop, even though it is 10 minutes shorter than the G1 race. Pumpkin King, is he going to be able? He's on his way out of the pit lane as Hilo will come through. Pumpkin King exits pit road then, and is only about 3 seconds in front of Hilo as we draw this race towards a conclusion. 10.5 minutes to go, and I think Hilo has the pace to rein in Pumpkin King. Both drivers on equal amounts of fuel, on equally new medium tyres. This is going to be a fabulous end to our race. No one else is going to run out of fuel there in that battle. De Lucas looking for the 3rd consecutive podium here to finish out his season. Rhino's in the pits as well. Zenith Specs is up against Black Evo. He's up against Monkey Games in the battle for 5th place in the championship. So that is going to be very, very important. And look out, Black Evo versus JCGT. Black Evo, I think, now doing enough to finish ahead of JCGT at the end of the count. But we will make all of those suppositions provisional before the stewards have seen to everything in the race. JCGT running in P8. He's got the hard tyres on right now. Should be good to the finish of the race in that Ferrari. Behind him is Monkey Games. So still plenty to do for Monkey Games here to try and pick up the points that his team are accustomed to. Apex not found in 10th. Lord Top Hat running in P11, picking up blue flags right now as he has to yield shortly to, well, not his teammate, I don't imagine. There's Kelvin the Boss, not far away. But who's that behind him? It's I saw black and I saw gold, and I failed to see green. It's I think that is the Jaguar then of DeLucas, not far away from making a lap, putting a lap on that Jan Placht Interiors Lamborghini Huracan. It's Pumpkin King leading from Hilo as we head uphill and down Dale on board the Ferrari. I think you can just about see the Porsche up front. You'll be able to probably see it as we head in towards the chicane and the better lit portion of the racetrack. There is the Porsche, and that's the fastest sector 2 and 1 combined from Hilo as we head through out of the chicane, out of turn 10A through turn 11 to finish out the race, the lap anyway of this lap 30 into lap 31, and we get a new fastest lap. Bit between his teeth here for Hilo as he eats into Pumpkin King's current lead of this race. Let's compare laps. That was a 1:21 for Pumpkin King, a 1:19.6 for Hilo. At that rate, you've got to say they're going to be together before the end of the race, and that is going to put so much pressure on Pumpkin King, and he'll be loving this. He'll be absolutely locked in and loving the challenge of hanging on to the lead of the final race of the season, I'm sure. We've got DeLucas, who has got Zenith Specs right behind him, actually. DeLucas running out of hard tyres. We saw him running out of medium tyres earlier on, and I think DeLucas may not be able to hang on to this podium for much longer. He's certainly struggling again to turn to the right in this clockwise circuit. Zenith Specs right behind him. We have just 7 minutes to run, but that's going to be a very long 7 minutes if you're in the Jaguar driven by DeLucas on those tyres at the moment. We know he's no stranger to taking a risk with a race car on tyres that are fully red, fully dead as they run into the chicane, and he held on nicely there. Zenith Specs stuck on the outside on the run through, and DeLucas just extending that gap slightly on the way through the final portion of the lap 31. We will wait to see if Zenith Specs can regain that lost momentum. I'm sure he will through the S's here. The Audi on the newer hard tyres should be in a much happier place as we run then through those famous S's section of this Michelin Road Atlanta Raceway in the fully dark conditions. I'm not sure we will quite see sunrise here in our final race of the season. Appropriately enough, I suppose that we finish at the end of a day cycle, but we will wait and see anyway, as DeLucas hanging on very nicely through that portion of the lap. Certainly Zenith Specs has a chance here to start to regain and use the slipstream. Very large, quite high rear wing on the Jaguar, as I think DeLucas just delaying his run across onto the right hand side of the track just to stop the slipstream just for that crucial couple of seconds. The blinkers are on DeLucas's car, but I thought he was headed in towards the pit lane then for a moment. But no. Let's have a look at the battle then for the lead of the race. How close are the two drivers? There is the Porsche and there is the Ferrari. I think that is getting on for about a second and a half now. The difference 19.9, 19.9, 19.6 for Hilo, and that is in comparison to the mid-20s and early 1 minute 21 laps in the last three from Pumpkin King. Hilo with prodigious pace on these medium tyres. He is burning through them faster than Pumpkin King, but he obviously has to make a pass before the end of the race. We're down in getting towards the final 4 minutes of this race. So the final 3 laps, I think, if I've done those maths correctly. Zenith Specs chasing down DeLucas as we saw just a few moments ago, but no closer, I think, perhaps than he was the last time we saw them. So DeLucas is hanging on expertly here, but that front left tyre is going to be hurting the Jaguar driver as we close in. So a challenge in the final few minutes then for third and for first, which is exactly what we want to see here. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has supported the racing, the channel, the videos this season. If you see the hype button at any point on a new video, do hit that hype button, but please make sure that you press all the buttons under the video here and at SVR-Racing as well, and make sure that you are giving your best support possible, because we want to make this league grow into something really successful and huge, and season on season make it better and better. So please, if you can find a way to support us, then please do so. It's DeLucas then in fourth. Unfortunately, he has just lost that position to Zenith Specs. As I wonder if we had a little bit of contact there, did we at all? Let's replay this as DeLucas goes to turn to the right, and he's just off on the grass, and he lost it on his own. I'm sorry to say, but no surprises as he understeers on that front left tyre. Zenith Specs there, trying to hang on to his 5th place in the championship ahead of Monkey Games, and I think will do so thanks to this particular finish. And that is how things are probably going to finish then in the battle for second place. The battle for the win, though, is not over, as we are nearing the penultimate lap of the race. I think is about to begin. We run through here. Is another purple sector. It's not quite. It's half a second slower actually for Hilo this lap. Has he taken too much out of the tyres? Pushing these qualifying laps he's running 1:19.6, a brand new fastest lap of the race on lap 33, but has he eaten too much of the tyre to finish this one? Still Pumpkin King not able to match Hilo, but he is getting closer and delaying the inevitable possibly, as we start lap 35 then with 2.5 minutes left to go. Fascinating run to the flag then for these. We'll just go back through the order as Kelvin the Boss is at the back. He's got a yellow flag in front of him. Who is that? It looks like his teammate, I'm afraid. Lord Top Hat off the circuit, but he's a lap ahead of his teammate right now. So Lord Top Hat in 11th, just having an off-track snafu with Apex not found in 10th. Monkey Games is in P9 in the Porsche, waiting to see which of these many cars coming down the straightaway together is Monkey Games. It's the rearmost of them. JCGT is in P9. DeLucas and Breo are both pitting, so JCGT is going to pick up positions relative to Black Evo. That is very important for his 3rd place in the title battle. I do believe. There is Breo just exiting the pit lane. DeLucas is in 6th place, exiting the pit lane as well. This has to be an unscheduled pit stop then for the drivers who've gone onto the soft tyres at the end. Rhino's in 5th with Black Evo in 4th. The Bergstein Transport Service drivers looking amazing out there, you have to say, as they finish out this race. Zenith Specs is in 3rd place. Some of these drivers will finish on, this will be their final lap, but for the leaders, I'm sure they are just entering their final lap, as it looks like Lord Top Hat was all over the circuit there again. Possibly. Was that Lord Top Hat? Or was that... whoa, that's horrid situation for the leaders to come through. and see right at the end of the race. Helo's last lap a 1:19.8 and a 1:20.1, and Pumpkin King a personal best 20.028 and a 20.087. Saving the best till last, our G2 champion is at the tail of this race. Ticking through. There are only about 45 seconds left on the clock. I think this might end up being the final lap. We will wait and see as we get closer and closer to the end of this racing action. Here is Pumpkin King. You can barely see the stars and stripes and the moustache on the car as we're still in the full night conditions at Road Atlanta. There are 20 seconds remaining before the checkered flag comes out. Can he manage to wait at the line? But Helo has been off. I have to say, I think Helo has unfortunately been off the circuit. There he is, pushing like hell, leaving everything out there on the racetrack. Exactly what you want to see from a newcomer, and impressing, no doubt, in my mind here. The team bosses. We've got 10 seconds left to go. Pumpkin King might be cognizant enough, aware enough to delay his run across the line to finish. Let's wait and see as we tick over the checkered flag. No, he's continued on to make a final glory lap all by himself. Helo secured in second. Pumpkin King will be the winner, but we'll watch everybody across the line. Zenith Specs comes through. Looking amazing out there, Zenith Specs, and a great final position, equaling his best score of the season so far in the feature race. He got a third place in round 5, but it's been a quiet season so far. But Zenith finishing on the podium in P3. Then Black Evo is chasing. Well, he's certainly. Unfortunately, coming up on a back marker there. Jan Placht Interiors car, and Black Evo won't be very impressed with finishing the race in that fashion across the gravel, but he gets P4 in the end. Another spin from the Jan Placht car. I'm not quite sure what is going on at the moment. DeLucas finishes in 5th with Rhino home in 6th place. JCGT again on his own with a good recovery back to 7th place, and he takes that one. We've got Monkey Games in P8 crossing the line. Brayo in 9th. Apex, Lord Top Hat, Kelvin the Boss, but Pumpkin King eventually, finally, the last one to cross the line. Pumpkin King wins in Michelin Road Atlanta Raceway. Pumpkin King, Helo and Zenith Specs your podium. Congratulations to those drivers. Thank you everybody so much for your loyalty throughout the season, for supporting the videos and the channel as you have done, and for your attention right to the end of the season and race today. Thanks everyone. It's been an absolute blast, and we will catch you on the next race day.